Today we're starting to talk about graphing a line, writing equations of lines. So we're going to start with what's called slope. Some of you guys have been exposed to this before, and for some of you this is going to be brand new material. The first part of your homework though is going to be to write your own definition based on what you already know for the first 8 vocab words. It doesn't have to be anything formal, just jot down anything you remember and bring it to class next time. So you can either pause the video now to do that, or you can go back and do it later. I'm going to start by giving you the definition of slope. It's the ratio of change. Remember, ratios we write as a fraction. Between 2 points on a line. You could think of it as how fast or slow a line increases or decreases. So I'll say that again. Slope is also how quickly or slowly a line decreases or increases going up or down. We use the variable m to represent slope, and that's really important because we're going to be using that from here on out for slope. This graph, the big graph, we're going to review some of our other vocab with, but please just remember you've got your x and your y. You have all different kinds of slope. You can have a positive slope, negative, 0, or undefined. And what I'm going to do now is just briefly show you what each would look like, and then we'll go into more detail in a second. But a positive slope just means that it's going up from left to right. Any line going up from left to right is going to have a positive slope. Negative slope just means it's going down. Okay, and just looking at it, it kind of makes sense. 0 and undefined can be hard to remember which is which. Okay, a 0 slope is a horizontal line, and an undefined slope is a vertical line. I'm going to explain to you why that's true in a few minutes. But for now, you just need to remember that. Some of us have a picture of Mr. Slope Guy in our room, ask us to show you. I think of it as this. I've never been skiing ever. So if you put me on top of a ski slope that's a horizontal line, my scary factor is 0. If you put me on top of a slope that's a vertical line, I'm undefinably scared. I know that's kind of a weird way to remember it, but to be honest, that's how I taught myself as a student. So for some of you guys, that may help as well. All right, let's go into how to find slope. We're going to find slope just by counting, and you count your rise over run. So slope is rise over run between 2 points. So we're going to start with the point 2, -3. So we're going to go 2 to the right, down 3. That should be review. And if our slope is 1 over 2, that means between each point of our line, we rise 1, go up 1, and run 2. So you put your pencil on your starting point, count up 1, run 2, put a dot. Then you can go up 1, run 2. Now, we all know that a negative over negative makes a positive. So you could also think of it as going down 1 to the left 2, because to the left is towards the negatives on your x. Down 1, left 2. And you could do that as many times as you need to get the most accurate line possible. So the first you try, we want you to try it with the ordered pair 1, -2, and a slope of -2/3. As you can see, the first one had a positive slope, so it's increasing from left to right. So use that mentality when you see a negative slope. That's a little self-check. You can think what it should look like. the next slope is what if we have a whole number? So it'd be -4, 1 is our starting point. So we'll start at -4, +1. And if our slope is 3, you have to think of it as a fraction. You guys all know that 3 is 3 over 1. So we're going to rise 3, run 1. So from your starter point, go up 3 over 1. Or down 3, 1, 2, 3, to the left 1. That's like a double negative. Another positive slope. And if you were to compare the two I just did, you would say that the slope of 3 is more steep than a 1/2. It's increasing faster at a faster rate. If it were -3, it would be going the other way. Okay, I'm going to show you a slope of -3 in red on here, just to help. So if m is -3, and we have the same starting point, you could go down 3 to the right 1, or up 3 to the left 1. Here's why. If you write -3 as a fraction, you could have -3 over +1, or think of it as 3 over -1. So from the starting point, you could go down 3 to the right 1, because only one of them is negative, or you could do a +3 left 1. The second you try, you're going to start at the origin and have a slope of 1/3. Okay, for example 3, you can see it says hoi. Okay, that's not us being crazy. That's a good way to remember a horizontal and vertical line. So the hoi, the H is horizontal, O is for a 0 slope, and Y means it's a Y equals equation, which we'll get to another day. But for now, let's look at the point 3, 2 with a slope of 0. Now, if you write 0 as a fraction, it could be 0 over any number in the whole wide world, and you would still get 0. So we'll just write 0 over 1, just so you can kind of visualize it. So we go over 3, up 2, slope of 0. Remember, rise over run. You're not going to go up and down any, because your rise is 0, and you're going to run 1. You could run -1, you could run -3. However you do it, if you don't go up or down at all, it's a horizontal line. Your u try 3 would be a 1, -1, with a slope of +2. And u try 4 is going to be another horizontal line example. So start at the point 4, 0, and give it a slope of 0. Now we have example 4, which is VUX. That's a vertical line, undefined slope, and the equation is x equals a number, which again, we'll get into the equations another day. Let's just look at what this, how this works out. So the point is -1, -2, and our slope is undefined. We've talked a lot about 0 not being able to be in the denominator of any fraction, right? Because nothing divided by 0 will ever give you an answer. You can't multiply 0 by anything to get a number. So if you wrote it as a fraction, any number here would not work, okay? So you could rise as many as you want and run 0. So if we start at -1, -2, rise whatever number you want, so let's rise 2, but we're not going to run it all, so I'm just going to put my dot. Rise 2 more, you could drop 1. The point is you're not running at all, you're not going left or right at all, so you end up with a vertical line. An undefined slope, because your run is 0 and run is in the denominator. Your last U-try is with the point -3, 1, with an undefined slope. Okay, to recap the main ideas of slope, it's rise over run. It's however many you go up compared to however many you go across in either direction. You will do the same amount for each example from the given point. At this point, make sure you go back and do those vocab words and the U-tries.